pay you $1 a day.
I want $50 an hour.
Pay you $1 a day. Take it or leave it.
I demand $15 an hour. I want to form a union.
All right, we got a deal. All right, we got to do an oil change on this tractor. Are you going to help?
Mm-hmm.
Do you even know what oil does? What?
It does pancakes.
It does pancakes. That's your answer. It does pancakes. Okay, so here's what we need to do. If we look under this engine right here, you'll see there's a bolt right there.
Yep.
That has to come off. And then we have a pan down underneath it that will catch the oil when it falls out. Can you see that nut?
Yeah.
So you got to get that on nice and gentle, nice and square. Make sure it's all the way on. You wiggle it back and forth till it's on, maybe towards me. There you go. Now push it towards the front and it will open. You can do it. Put your back into it. There you go. Now tighten it up just a little bit, just snug. Here we go. Stop there. I'm going to take over from there. Let's get the bucket in the right place.
Gotta hurry and move your hand before.
Yeah.
But it'll come down. Okay.
There it goes. And it's pretty black, so it's definitely overdue for a change.
So that is not for pancakes. So that is not for pancakes. If it's black. Nuh-uh.
We'll try it sometime and find out. No, we won't. Now,
where are we gonna put all that oil? Where are we gonna put all that oil?
I'll just put it in your pillow.
How dare you!
So this is where oil goes back in. Goes in the top, but we're not going to put oil in there right now. You know why?
Why? Because it's dripping out!
Exactly. There's a filter that oil goes through to make it clean in the engine. And it's right here. So we have to be able to get that out of there. All right, it's definitely too tight for my hand, so I'm going to have to go find a tool. Okay, I'm trying to avoid taking this whole shroud off and everything to get to this oil filter. But I just recently bought a tool for oil filters because I'm having a problem with the oil filter on my F250. And the last time the truck was in, I just told the mechanic, go ahead and change the oil. Normally I change the oil myself. But this time the mechanic did the oil change and the filter, of course, got put on super tight. So I've got it all bent up and everything underneath, trying to use big oversized pliers and stuff. So I went and bought this fancy tool, and I haven't tried it on the truck yet, but I'm going to try it on here and see what happens. So the way it works is, you can see if you turn it one way, it opens up. And then when you turn it with the ratchet, it tightens down onto the filter, digs in, and you can crank it off with the ratchet. So let's give that a try and slide it in there. Look at that, it fits right up behind the shroud. And then turn it, and it tightens on. Let's see about getting a ratchet on that. Oh, might need a longer extension if this is going to hit the muffler. Oops. Okay. Okay, like that. Now, oh, I got it the wrong way. Always, oh no, that's the wrong way. Okay, so maybe, I don't know, let's hold it in place and turn it. Oh, that's definitely the wrong way. Well, that's for tightening it though. That's going to tighten it. There's got to be a way to loosen it, right? I mean, who wants to tighten an oil filter on with a tool? All right, what is going on? Why did they, that can't even, oh, if you turn it far enough, it goes over the hump and then goes the other way. So now, when you loosen it, it tightens again. Okay, holy, that was kind of spooky. And it's tightening up, okay. Keep going, and it's working. Nice. Okay, that's hand tight now. Let's get the bucket over here and spin that off. Why is there no oil in this filter? No oil came out. But maybe because it's sideways? Maybe because it's sideways and it just drains. There is a drain hole in the bottom of the filter pad, so maybe that's normal. I know I have oil pressure. I put a gauge in it. So my employee, my demanding employee, is already requiring a lunch. So she's gone in for lunch. Just when a dirty job starts, she runs away. All right, I'm gonna reach in here, just grab a little dab of oil off the filter pad and run it around the rubber O-ring here, the rubber seal of the new filter. Slide that in. Give her a twist, not too tight, just hand tight. Okay, idea is, and you know what? This is kind of cool. The lettering on the filter is now straight across. So if I ever concerned that it was going to be loosened up or something, I would just take a look. And if it was turned, I would know that it's coming loose. But it's just not gonna. They never do. All right. Okay, I moved the bucket under there to get under the filter and forgot I didn't have the nut back in the oil pan. So I dripped a little on the floor, not too much. Slide that back in. Just snug, not too tight. All right, this stuff is done. All right, so 2.5 is right there. I'll be able to see that. I'll put in half the jug. Kubota 10W30 engine oil. Nothing but the best. .3 exactly. I'm going to keep an eye on my oil pressure line here. See how it's all full of air right now? I suspect that that's going to fill up with oil when I start it. So why don't I do that now? Make sure it's in neutral. Oh, it's hard to reach over there. Okay, there you go. Put it back in, all the way to the bottom. Now, be gentle. There you go. All the way in, push it.
Jeez.
Right? Okay, now pull it back so it's in the light so we can see. Now, see the oil on here? Mm-hmm. Can you see the color of it? It's kind of like, looks like pancake syrup.
Yeah.
Can you see the little line on the dipstick that's scratched into it?
Yeah.
The oil's just about at that line, right? Mm-hmm. That means it's full. That's how much oil is in the engine. It tells you how high the oil is. So you put that back in nice and tight. Easy at first in case it's not going in straight. And then you just jam it home. There you go. Now you know how to chuck oil. All right. Okay, one complaint I have is the 3-point hitch is lowering way too slow, and because the front blade is attached to the 3-point hitch, it's just dropping too slow. So I found that the adjustment bolt for that is this yellow one under the seat. So I'm going to get the right tool to loosen that off. There's a lock nut underneath. May not be able to see that lock nut underneath. So you loosen this. Well, no. Yeah, you loosen the lock nut. And then you can adjust your drop speed with that now. Now, how are you supposed to get this in here? Oh, yep. Okay, so that loosened it up. So you loosen it to make it drop faster. So let's do that. Check that it's in neutral. Get the glow plug warmed up. And ignition. Okay, that drops it much nicer. So I'm going to tighten up that locking nut. I don't want to turn them both. I want to hold this one. There we go. Okay, so you see in here where I got it all lit up in this area, right? Mm-hmm. What we're looking at now is changing the transmission fluid. It's hydraulic oil called Kubota UDT. This is the fill hole here where we put new stuff. And then down here, can you look in there and see the little red bolt on the side?
Yeah.
That's called a dipstick. I think what it is like an overflow hole. Can you loosen that for me? Now be careful. There you go. So now it's loose. So you can turn it one more time a little bit with the wrench because it's probably too tight still for fingers. Be gentle, nothing too aggressive or you'll hurt yourself. Okay, I think you got it. I'm not sure. Let me check. Yeah. We'll just spin that off by hand. I think it's loose enough now. And I don't have a bucket underneath it. Yes, I do. Just not in the right spot. All right, we'll take that out and see what this is all about. Holy.
Hello.
Okay, so nothing's coming out. I kind of expected that. So we'll just set that down for a second. I'm going to go underneath and drain out the transmission. It's too hard to get to for a kid. So I'll be back and forth a few times until I get the right size. Okay, so yeah, you can kind of peek around the corner, but these are kind of hard to get to. There is a bolt up there that has an orange head on it. On your side, there's a bolt. I can't move across far enough.
Sorry.
There is a bolt up there that also has an orange head on it. It's just really dirty. So I'm afraid you're not going to be able to get in here. It's too hard, it's too cramped. And I found that 11/16 socket fits it. So I'm going to try to get in here and get that now. It's loose. It's not even tight. Oh, maybe. Yeah, it wasn't very tight anyways. Oh boy. There it goes. There's a little bit of white milky color to it, but there was nothing wrong with it. But it doesn't hurt when you buy a machine from someone you don't know. It doesn't hurt to change all the fluids so they're all brand new. So there's one.
Oh no,
I think oh yeah, it's going on. It just has so much crud on it that I didn't feel like it's the right size.
it
This one's on way tighter. Just squeeze my hand, there we go. Lots of crud on it. Be careful none of that falls back in. It was definitely running low though. Next thing I gotta find, there is a strainer. Not necessarily a filter like you'd think, like an oil filter, but there is a strainer in here I gotta find. You're earning your 15 bucks an hour. Oh, it'll probably be this. Yeah, I think it's gonna be that thing. Because the manual showed a pipe with like a fitting like that and then the bolt on the end. So I'm gonna pull that out. I can do that now. There it goes. You did it. Okay, it's loose. That's good. Thank you. I'm just afraid something might go bing and cut because I've never done this before. I don't know. There we go. I've been turning it for an hour. All right. There's no strainer in that. Let's take a little view.
Did you do that for
What I got going on in here. All right, I think that.
Now you can do it.
I think that is this.
Ah.
What? There's no strainer in there. Oops, a little copper washer just fell out. Oh.
What are you doing?
Okay.
Your hand?
Oh, I lost the bolt. There it is.
You need to wash his hands when he's done.
Let's put this back in. Okay. Not too tight, just crush it against the copper washers. We can put these back in. Strain plugs. Okay. Yep, that's good. Okay, both sides done. Time for new fluid. I'm not really sure I understand how these hydraulic lines even work, so is this, oh, there's a hydraulic pump up front. Okay, that's how it works. So how does it get oil from the back up to the front? Oh, you see, there's another thing underneath. Maybe this is the strainer. I bet you it is. Okay, so the manual described the strainer, but it didn't show where it was, not that I could see. So the first thing I saw was up on the top there. It looked like a strainer bolt. But the one on the bottom is probably the one I want. Okay, so 1 1/16 wrench again on this bottom one. So that's just in front of the right rear tire. There we go. There we go. And guess what? There's a strainer. Okay, with a bunch of metal filings all over it, so that's its purpose. So yeah, it's just a metal screen to collect metal shavings. So I'm gonna clean that out before I put it back in. You don't replace these, you just clean them.
Hi guys!
Okay, we got that strainer nicely cleaned off. Over in the Varsol tank and blown dry. So she's shiny and clean just like new. Let's put that back in. We'll get that up and in there. There is a washer on this. Oh, there isn't. Oh, it's stuck. Yeah, there's an O-ring in there. So now I know if this was ever leaking, I could hook out the O-ring and put a new one in the groove. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Okay, that's snug. Good. So now I know how everything works. I'll keep an eye on all these fittings and I'll look for drips. If I see any, I'll know what to do. Now we can add new fluid. Now, this is the fill hole. Sorry, we don't fill it there. That is the level hole. So we'll take that out. You can just turn it with your fingers. Did you drop it? I'm the only one that drops things. All right, and then this cap here, you can unscrew that one. Yeah. That's the fill hole. Just don't drop it. Okay, turn it upside down so that the dirt doesn't get on the threads. I'll clean them off anyway with a rag. Now we can add new fluid down in there.
I quit!
Oh boy. Well, my experiment with child labor didn't work out too well. She quit! Okay, the reason I have the ATV jack under the back of this thing is I need to split the tractor in two because once I got that transmission filled with hydraulic fluid, it leaked. It leaked out the front of the tranny. Okay, while I'm thinking about it, I should mention that when I had this top hydraulic line off of the gearbox, this banjo bolt, I didn't mention the copper washers that are on it. There's one on each side. So I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's one on the bolt side and one on the other side. We'll call that the banjo because I think that's what it is. Okay, on this side, we're gonna have to remove the brake lever on the, we'll call it the passenger side or the right side, and the differential lockup rod for the lever that's, you know, your heel lever. So I think that's it. So yeah, the hydraulic lines, 2 banjo bolts, one lower, one upper, brake rod, and differential lock rod. I think that's it. This chain here, well, I'll just unhook it. It's just there to hold up my blade when not in use so that I can use the rear 3-point hitch without the blade coming up and down. And so let's get a strap on this on the rear here and finish this job up. So to give you a better idea what's going on, what my problem is, if you look down through those rods, you'll see the little pool of hydraulic fluid that has accumulated overnight. So this is where the transmission attaches to the tunnel that the drive shaft is in. So the drive shaft from the engine runs through that tunnel and into the transmission. Let's take it apart and take a look at it a little bit clearer. You can see I've got the front of the tractor strung up to my chain fall, so it's not going anywhere when I take this apart. Okay, and now you'll see I've got the rear of the tractor snugged down to the handle on the ATV jack, so it can't flop forward if that's the way the weight's going to go when I split the tractor. But what if it's going to flop backwards? What if I don't know which way the weight is on this thing? Well, if you look up here, you'll see I've got another strap that runs all the way up and over behind the shifter up there, and then down the other side, and it hooks onto the handle at the front, the same as this side. So it's snugged down to the ATV jack because it won't sit flat on the pads of the ATV jack, just the back. Just the back are on it. So I thought maybe I'd slide that under and jack it up and it's just going to sit on something flat and lift the whole... No, this is just loose. This is just, you know, the pan that holds the moor deck. I just wanted to point out something I didn't before. I do have to disconnect these moor deck chains as well. Okay, so I've got the other moor deck rod that runs back with a 3-point hitch disconnected here from its fitting, so that's free. I just have to disconnect the left wheel brake rod. I need glasses. Can't see. Oh my god, I think it's old and rusty. I might be able to just break it off. This is not in a good spot. It won't really fit very much. I think they're still spread apart back there, but I can't see. You probably can, but I can't. Okay, I can't see in there, but I can feel the other part of that cotter pin bent over there. Just love when things are put together with no intention of ever being taken apart again. All right, I gotta take a look. Still can't really see, but well, it's doing its job. I can only see with one eye. It's not gonna work. Oh, it worked. Everything's in the way, every single thing. This one stupid little cotter pin is the hardest task on the entire project. All right, I think the needle nose pliers will fit in there now. Try that. There we go. Hooray! That was easy. Not really. There we go. Oh my god, I got the same problem with the right brake lever, the pins on the inside. You know, most people that work on these probably have them up on a hoist or something that you can get underneath. All right, I'm on the right side of the tractor. You can see I got both brake pedals now disconnected. You absolutely did not want to hear my language taking that rod off. There's no way I'm putting cotter pins back in this thing. I'm putting removable pull clips in. All right, now just the 2 hydraulic lines. I'll do the top one first down in there. You'll see that banjo bolt right here. It's got to come out. And when I take that out, all the fluid's going to dump out of the rear end and all over the moor deck bracket down below it. So what I've done is I've just grabbed myself an old tailpipe. And I'm going to stick that underneath. When it drains out, and then it's just going to go into the bucket like this. I don't want any fragments of anything in the hydraulic oil that dumps out of this thing because I'm going to reuse it. It's brand new. All right, wish me luck. Oh God, there it goes. So the strainer will come out with it. Can't see what I'm doing. Whoa, that's a lot. Yeah, I spilled some. I spilled quite a bit, actually. So this is what I'm looking at. I'm looking down through a little hole right there to do this. You've probably got a much better view than I do. Just set that underneath. All right. One little problem. I've got the rear banjo bolt off on the hydraulic line, but running them through the strap here like this is holding them tight to the tunnel. And I don't want that. I need to get them away because see how there's a nut, well, it's in behind these hydraulic lines, so I got no way to get a socket or a wrench on it. Now, I think what I might need to do is stab something down in there to pry the line away. So I think that's 14. Yeah, 14. It fits nice and snug on that. But I don't have a 14 millimeter socket, so it's gonna have to be a wrench. So really, I don't need this in there anymore. It's just gonna cause me problems. Oh my God, it's tight. There it goes. Okay. Okay. Off she goes. Okay, I just found my serial number. All right, what's that say? B5001E. It's kind of weird. It's a B5100, but serial number says B5001E. And then 18042. So what year is that? I don't even know. All right, let's get these other 3 nuts off. I took the one off the other side already. I'm just going to buzz these off real quick. Let's see what happens. Whoa. There we go. Seems to be working out all right. I think I pull it back a bit more. Something's pulling it back. Why? It wants to come apart, but something's pulling it back together. So, what am I forgetting? Oh man, it's these foot pads. So, I didn't even think that the fenders. So luckily I didn't like keep wrenching on this. But yeah, I gotta take these. Probably just the 2 on the bottom there, Phillips head screws off the fenders. Okay, do that right now. Okay, and the other side. Oh, that's coming apart for sure now. What's gonna happen? Whoa. Seems to be working out all right. think. Just before I keep picking more of this out, there's the drive shaft going into the transmission. There's some kind of fuzz or rope or something. That's where the oil seal is. And it's also what I suspect is leaking, although it's dry. So, maybe my leak isn't that. Maybe my leak is something else down there, but I won't know until I get this the rest of the way apart. Okay, this is as far back as I can get this tractor without cutting that red wire over there for the taillight. As you can see, the plug is missing out of the front of this transmission completely. I did rotate the input shaft and it turned that gear that you can see in there. And there's no damage to the teeth at all. You know, the trans level would have come up to the bottom of this hole and that's it. And, you know, obviously it would have splashed out. So it probably was 1/2 inch lower than this hole. So it was probably about maybe 2 inches lower than the drain bolt. So I don't know how much damage that will cause. Maybe someone's had one of these transmissions apart and knows the difference in, you know, the level, how low you can get before it's not splashing oil up into the top part of this transmission, getting all the gears. Maybe this is the highest gear, and it's definitely dipping into the gear oil, and you can see it's wet, and there's no damage, and there's a bearing back there I can see, and you know nothing's falling apart. The seal that I bought is unnecessary because the input shaft seal is fine. All right. I don't even know anymore what's going on, as if that happened. Well, I spent 18 bucks on the seal. The plug down there is only, I think he said $4, something like that. I should have just got it. Oh, something fell out. Probably gonna need this. It's an O-ring. Don't know what that went on. I'm thinking probably this O-ring was probably on the back side of this banjo. Yeah, there's a groove there and no O-ring in it. So I'll probably just put a new O-ring in. I have a kit with billions of them, so I'll put a new O-ring in. So I gotta shut her down for the night and get the proper part. Okay, just in case you tuned in to see what part number you need for this transmission seal, the seal that I'm not actually going to change. So the input shaft seal on the front of the transmission is Kubota 09500-17308. The part I do need came in today, and that is the plug that goes in the front of the transmission, just a little bit below the input shaft. So it's 66631-1420. I'm a little nervous about part numbers that start with 666. Now here's the kicker. The plug is just a rubber plug. Just a rubber plug that goes in a place on this transmission where you can't see it. You don't even know if that has fallen out or not. So I'm a little nervous. You see how it's not really flexible so much on the inside, but it's like a trampoline on its back here. So yeah, that pushes in. There's really nothing to push it out because the transmission, the gearbox isn't pressurized or anything. Okay, I wouldn't recommend just anybody do this project. This part is really quite complicated, but I am pretty much an expert mechanic, so I'll go ahead and do it. Done. I'm exhausted. Before I push this tractor back together again, why don't I take a second and just give a once over as I've learned it, how this thing actually works. So we have a 2-cylinder diesel engine running through a dry clutch like you'd have in your typical manual car, and a drive shaft that comes back out of the clutch into a gearbox, typical standard gearbox, again, kind of like you'd find in a car. The fluid in this gearbox is called Kubota UDT fluid, and it's a hydraulic fluid as well as a gearbox fluid. The hydraulic system on this tractor and the gearbox share one common supply of UDT fluid. So it's poured in the top. I forget, some 9.5 liters. I'll correct myself. I'll just put a text up. But it's about, yeah, I think it was 8.5. Anyways, I'll get that straight. And what happens is, okay, so that lubricates the gears and stuff inside the gearbox. Well, what happens behind the gearbox, it's a little difficult to show as a separate unit because it's the same color. This is your hydraulic system back here for your 3-point hitch. Okay, so the way the hydraulic system works on this, the fluid will just dump out of this hole here into this inlet here for the hydraulic fluid to run up to the front of the tractor and dump into the high pressure hydraulic pump in there. So that pressurizes it off of the engine. I'm not sure how it's pressurized, probably a gear drive of some sort. It's then pushed back through this smaller line, runs back to the back again, and connects this time to the control valve in there for the hydraulic system for the 3-point hitch, which this handle up here will operate the valve to go one direction or the other. And you can control the upper and lower limits of the hitch with these stops. You just set them where you want them. And, you know, whoop, maybe I shouldn't be messing with it right away. Oh boy, I just dumped a whole bunch more fluid out. So that's kind of the gist of it. I might have to rotate the transmission shaft a little bit just to get the teeth to line up. Okay, so I had to put the drive shaft coupling on the splines properly here so this pin will go through. And I think I did it right. Let's find out. Here it goes. Right on through. Okay, so the pin's through the other side. Now I need to spin it over and put a little keeper pin in there. I didn't get the hole lined up properly, so I might have to do a little work on this to spin it around. Yeah. Oh, and it won't turn. I just didn't even think of that. I got to make sure that the hole for the keeper pin is sideways so that I can put that in once I hammer this home. Okay, and then, oh, there's a washer. And a pin. Okay, so I have the pin in the drive shaft coupling, and I should be able to push this back together now. It may not line up with the clutch teeth, but I'll give it a bit of a wiggle and it should drop right in. Let's do that now. I may not have it lined up in there to push through. I might have the drive shaft too high, maybe. I think I'm gonna lower things. Oh, look at that, it fell right into place as soon as I dropped the front end. Transmission's tightened up to the tunnel. I got the hydraulic lines back on, upper and lower, cranked on. I have to put the, now I've got to get underneath, but look at what I've gone and done. I've spilled like so much hydraulic fluid that I can't work in this spot anymore. So I got to move it back. Okay, time to fill her up. 10 millimeter. The overflow hole, or the level plug, we'll call it. There is a little washer on this, so you wouldn't want to lose that. Come on. There it goes. There it is. It's flowing out now. All right. Gonna close that off. Just snug. Yes. Woohoo! Fixed. Quite the oil change I did. Get the blade back on. I got away with this project with no big snowfall come down, so didn't have to resort to putting the blade on the pickup truck. Okay, let's top it up. And it's oozing. There it goes. That is full. All right, with any luck, this transmission is going to survive its little ordeal of running low for I don't know how long. No idea how long that plug has been out of the front of the transmission. Maybe 3 or 4 owners worth, who knows. But it's fixed now. Just so you know, I can bypass the blade from 3-point hitch, so I can use the 3-point hitch separately and leave the blade on, just by doing this. Okay, now if I lower the 3-point hitch, the blade just hangs on that chain. Tractor's working fine. I do have a drip though. I'm afraid I found a drip when I came out. It's pretty small, but I'm gonna have to deal with it. It is that bottom banjo bolt. Let me turn on the light. It is that bottom banjo bolt where it had O-rings on it. It's a low pressure line, so they just use rubber O-rings, whereas the top one is a high pressure line, so they use copper washers. Well, I don't know. It looks like that O-ring wasn't in good shape. I should have replaced them when that was off. So yeah, I'm gonna dump the fluid into a clean pan and reuse it. Pull that banjo bolt off, replace both O-rings inside and out, rubber O-rings, put it back on, then I'm done. Other than that, everything turned out great. Quite pleased with it. Yeah, a lot of work for an oil change though. that's one heck of an oil change. All right, and then come summertime, I got to get this thing degreased and cleaned up, maybe even painted up a bit. No sense trying to do that in the wintertime. Yeehaw. All right, looks like I got that tractor done just in the nick of time. Starting to snow again, so looks like I'll be using it soon. All right, so from Ontario, cheers, eh? See you next time.